We're here today to tell you about the music and the people that first came to Appalachia a long, long time ago. Now, to give you just a little bit of a history lesson, some of the first people to come to this country, back when Christopher Columbus and all of them started coming over a long time ago, were English and Irish and Scottish. The people that come to Appalachia back in the 1800s were mostly Irish because this area looked a lot like their homeland in Scotland and Ireland. And so along with that, they brought their music with them. Now, they brought, at that time when they come to America, they didn't have a lot of tools. They didn't have a lot of stores because there wasn't any. There was no Home Depots or Lowe's or Walmarts to go to back then. So the Appalachian settlers, the pioneer settlers, had to make most everything that they had. And that included their instruments. And some of them they brought with them, but a lot of them they made it on their own. I want to show you that too. But one of the first instruments that the people from Ireland and Scotland brought to America was the fiddle. Now, this is also called a violin, but in our style of music, or in the mountain style of music, it's called a fiddle. Now, it's relatively small. It can be packed away in a saddlebag or in a wagon. It doesn't take up much room. The fiddle has 4 strings. Now, remember this because it's going to be a test at the end of the program. So, the fiddle has 4 strings, and it is a hollow body instrument. In other words, it's all hollow all the way through. And it's made out of wood. And the old pioneer settler could make this instrument with just the materials that he found here in the mountains. He could cut the trees and make wood and carve it out. And if he was lucky enough to find some wire, he could make strings for it. Now the fiddle is played with a bow. Now a bow is a piece of wood that has horsehair stretched from one end to the other, and it's stretched tight, and it has a little adjustment down here to keep that horse. Now, how many strings does the fiddle have? Good. And what is the bow made out of? Horsehair. Pay attention. Good. You'll all pass it then. So the next instrument that I want to talk to you about is the instrument called the banjo. Now, the banjo was brought here from Africa a long, long time ago, back in the 1600s. As far back as 1675, it's been reported that the banjo was being played here in the United States. Now, this one that I want to show you, this is what the banjo looked like. Current events were set to music, and they have been passed down by song, and it was a long time before they were ever written down and recorded. But those current events and stories were passed down through song and stories all over the mountains, and they were even passed on and recorded even today. And it was a very important part of the Appalachian people to get together and play and sing and share stories. So, with the history of music, the importance of music, there was another instrument brought to the mountains. Now, this instrument is an old instrument, but it's new to America. The guitar. The guitar is also made out of wood. The guitar has 6 strings. Remember that, 6 strings. Remember how many the fiddle has? 4. How many does the banjo have? 5. And the guitar has? 6. The guitar is also made out of wood, and it also has metal strings, and it's played with a pick. Now the guitar originated back in Spain, way back, as far as we can remember. Some form of stringed instruments has been played since we have a record of man, all the way back to the caveman day. There is drawings on cave walls where the caveman actually used stringed instruments to play tunes and make music with. So I'm going to get Vanessa to come up and demonstrate what the guitar sounds like. banjo and fiddle, and we've got one more instrument that I want to talk to you about. This is called the mandolin. Now, the mandolin originated in Italy a long, long time ago, and it's a member of the lute family, which can be traced all the way back to biblical times. I think even King David played a psaltery and a lyre that's also the same member of the lute family. The mandolin has 8 strings. 2 of the strings are tuned together, so it makes it very difficult to keep this thing in tune. It's a very difficult instrument to play. But this instrument was made popular back in the 1940s by a man named Bill Monroe. When Bill Monroe played on the Grand Ole Opry back in 1942, he was a mandolin player, and he brought to life a style of music that we call bluegrass. Has everybody heard of bluegrass? Not to talk about one of the most important instruments that we all possess, and that's our voices, and that's singing. Singing was very important for the mountain people, and the mountain people brought to this country a very distinctive sound of singing, and it's a very mournful sound. And they brought with them some old songs that have been around since the 1500s. This one song that Vanessa is going to come up and demonstrate for you was first published or written down in 1575. So Vanessa, if you will, come forward. And this is an old English ballad, just a couple of verses of Barbara Allen. Do a fiddle tune that I'm going to play on the mandolin that was written by Bill Monroe. And he recorded this back in 1947, and it's still a pretty popular tune at a lot of your bluegrass festivals and things like that. So we hope you enjoy this one called Gold Rush.